It's your turn.
It sounds crazy, all of them, but I guess the one that I have to say is 2001 because I watched it when I was very young and it was the first time I'd kind of had that visceral experience, you know. I remember sitting there and thinking, my God, it's been 20 minutes, I haven't heard a word of dialogue yet. And I'd never seen a movie like that, you know. And so all those things were just thinking, waking me up, this is amazing, the possibilities. And none of it was CGI. Yeah. He'd say what I said. I mean, he loved them all because they were all totally different genres. They were tackling different questions about life and inside these situations and these areas and these periods of time. He was very sad about the initial reception of Barry Lyndon because it was flayed alive, you know, when it first came out. Now I have so many people coming to me and saying, you know, I just watched it again, and for me it's almost like the perfect movie. It's a perfect, you know, and he'd have been so glad to hear that, you know. He really would. It is really hard to say, you know, what's your favorite film, what's his favorite film. I guess, you know, something I think, you know, 2001 is, you know, it's obviously, it was such a landmark. It inspired so many people, you know, it really did. But I also think, you know, if you look back at something like Paths of Glory, which was much more of a Hollywood kind of tinged kind of picture, but he made a Hollywood subject matter, the way it was treated normally, he made it into something different. And I love that film too. I mean, I just adore it. Seven Samurai, I know that. I also know that, you know, we love things like, you know, Rome Open City, that whole kind of Italian sort of renaissance that came along after the Second World War. He loved those films. He liked Z, or Z you'd call it here, which was Costa Gavras and the Battle of Algiers, you know. These were all wonderful individual films, like you've never seen their like again, and you hadn't seen their like before, you know. They were unique, and they still are. And those are the kind of films that he liked. He liked Almodovar, you know. He loved his films, and you know, he died just before Talk to Her came out, and I just know he would have loved it. I just know he would have loved it. He had a very sort of soft, emotional side to him, you know, which he, you know, you might not have believed it looking at his films because he dealt with reality, but you know, he had a lot of love inside him, you know, a lot of affection for people who tried, you know, he really did, you know. I liked, there was that film with, let me see, it was a reggae film, The Harder They Fall. You ever see that film? It was a Jamaican film, and it was a gangster film, you know, gangster, you know, and I loved it because it really told you a slice of life nobody outside of Jamaica would have known about, you know. Jamaicans just smoked dope and were very cool and, you know, laid back. At least they were in London, you see, but you saw a side of Jamaica that you hadn't been aware of, and you know, and it was quite innovative in its time. But Stan, you know, he had this wasn't him. This wasn't his kind of area. And another film I think was we had a disagreement about was The Usual Suspects, you know, because I thought that film was pretty great, you know. But I think he found it. I think he got a little impatient, you know, sort of. I think it unleashed itself in such a slow, kind of deliberate pattern that he sort of he was, you know, get on with it. It was that kind of thing. But, you know, so we did, you know, we had those kind of disagreements, definitely. But we usually liked the same actors. Yeah, absolutely. As a person, probably, let's be more than one word, probably the most complete human being I've ever met. Right? Not afraid to show how he felt, as I was saying in that Q&A. You know, you knew how he was thinking, what he was feeling from the moment anybody opened their mouth and made an utterance. You kind of thought, he's not going there. Or he'd be, you know, oh wow, he's really embracing that. Or, as I said, he could turn to me and say, that's the stupidest, dumbest idea I ever heard, you know. So very, you know, he could be everything, kind, angry, mean, over-generous, and just like a normal human being, but to the power of a gazillion. You know what I mean? I mean, he was everyone everybody else is, it's just bigger, you know. He couldn't help himself, you know. That's why I say in the nicest way, in the nicest meaning of the word, he was childish. You know, there were none of those inhibitions that a lot of adults give themselves to, you know, and it's a problem sometimes, you know. Don't take things too hard. But if you did, he was the most rather the warmest human beings. I mean, you know, everybody talks about, there's a book called Eyes Wide Open. It was Freddie, what's his face, you know, he helped write the screenplay. And he said at the end of the book, all I wanted was him to put his arm around my shoulders and say you did a great job. And blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, I had that arm around my shoulders quite a few times over the years, and thank God for it sometimes. I needed it, you know. But he could be generous and warm in that way. He wasn't just a control freak, you know, and he wasn't just a guy who lost his temper and expected everything to be, you know, he understood. We're all human. One big word, forget about, you know, you've got to have the love and you've got to have the interest in perseverance. That is perseverance with a big P. You know, you'll have times when you think it's not worth it, but, you know, you'll come back to it because if you love it, you can't help it. And perseverance and those hard times are a way, you know, a way for him to, you know, for your mind to say, all right, I need to take a few minutes out or a day out or a week out or a year out or whatever it is, you know, what does this experience mean to me, and what would I lose by not being a part of it anymore? And I think that's always the test, you know, and if you can persevere, you've got your answer for you. You have to be, you know. Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, someone say action, I need that.
Okay, action.
Right, my name's Leon Vitali, and I've been here in Miami because we've been showing a documentary about, you know, all the years of work that I did with Stanley Kubrick, and this gentleman here, whose name is?
Louis Bond.
Louis Bond.
Louis Bond, like James Bond.
All right. Louis Bond, 007, of the television community here in Miami. He's asked me to talk to you and talk to, you know, the followers of this film program, and I'm very happy to do it. I've been happy to do it, and I hope you enjoy it and you get something out of the interview. That's the most important thing to me. So bless you all you film lovers. I love you. All right?